Good afternoon. I'm Marielle for Forkable News. They say it's the most wonderful time of the year, but are things actually merry and bright in the world of veganism? We're about to find out in today's Good Vegan News. Welcome back to Studio 1F. First up, Veganuary 2025's Weird challenges public's cognitive dissonance in Boldest campaign to date. I'll admit, for some reason it's taken me years to fully understand what Veganuary is. Why do they need my email? What am I signing up for? But I think I've finally wrapped my mind around it and plan to support it in the upcoming weeks. As registration for Veganuary 2025 officially opens, the charity has launched a head-turning campaign to encourage people to try veganism for the month of January. Through the use of ads with jarring imagery, the Weird campaign asks viewers to consider the practices behind some of the most commonly consumed animal products. For example, it highlights that sausages are pigs stuffed into their own intestines. Cows make milk to feed their babies just like human mothers do. Chicken often comes from birds bred to grow so big that they can barely stand. The ads are now running across social media, and ITVX pause ads featuring the graphics are set to run later in the month. I had to look up what a pause ad was, and once I did, I felt pretty silly. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's an ad that pops up when you pause. This campaign is super creative and I think potentially very effective. It falls in the makes you think category of activism, which I always appreciate, and some shockingly good news for the US. In 2024, Veganuary saw particularly remarkable growth in the US, which had the highest number of participants of any country. I almost don't believe it. America? We had the highest number of participants? That really does make me proud. And I'm not being sarcastic, even though it sounds like I am. Once again, I've committed to the bit of talking like this, and it makes everything sound like sarcasm, even when it's not. Hundreds of businesses also took part, and the city of Baltimore even declared January as the official Veganuary month. I don't know about you, US Forks, but this is some of the most shocking news I've read all year. Last year, a survey conducted 6 months after Veganuary found that 80% of participants had reduced their animal product consumption by 50% or more, while 28% had opted to remain fully vegan. I appreciate this new campaign and hope for another super successful Veganuary this year. Next year. Next up, LA's hottest vegan restaurant now available nationwide. Crossroads Kitchen, the acclaimed Los Angeles-based vegan restaurant backed by musician Travis Barker, it's veg news, so we had to get a celeb reference in the first sentence, has expanded its reach by offering nationwide shipping of its signature plant-based dishes. Through a partnership with the gourmet food delivery service Goldbelly, customers across the US can now enjoy Crossroads Kitchen's renowned Mediterranean-inspired vegan cuisine from the comfort of their homes. This is one of the most famous vegan restaurants in LA that I famously had a not great experience at back in 2013, and famously wrote a not great Yelp review of. I was a bit of a vegan Karen back in the day, but enough about me. That was a long time ago, and I have always wanted to go back and give it another try. But now, apparently, I don't have to. The nationwide shipping menu includes a variety of Crossroads Kitchen's most celebrated dishes in make-at-home meal kits. Customers can savor the hearty tagliatelle bolognese, featuring a rich plant-based sauce, vegan chicken scallopini, linguine with mushroom scallops, and fresh rigatoni tossed in vodka sauce. For dessert, the restaurant's macarons provide a sweet conclusion to the meal. I'm honestly a little underwhelmed with the offerings. There are a lot of things on the Crossroads menu that look fantastic, like the stuffed zucchini blossoms, the truffled potatoes, the pizzas, the piccata, but in all fairness, maybe these are the easiest ones to ship. Chef Tal Ronan, recognized by Oprah Winfrey as America's best vegan chef, founded Crossroads Kitchen in 2013 at the intersection of Melrose and Sweetser in Los Angeles. The restaurant quickly gained popularity for its upscale ambiance and innovative plant-based menu, despite one extremely damning Yelp review written in 2013. Oh, no, that's not what it says. Attracting a diverse clientele of vegans, flexitarians, and omnivores. Out of curiosity, I looked it up on Goldbelly and found that for $150 you can get a beautiful 3-course dinner for 4 but vegan. Start with kale Caesar salad, continue with impossible chicken scallopini parmesan, and finish off with assorted macarons. Add on impossible cigars for even more luxury. What? It doesn't come with the Impossible cigars? Prior to reading that sentence, I had never even heard those two words together, but now I want them, and I'm pissed I'm not gonna get them. In this hypothetical scenario in which I order this meal, which is highly unlikely to happen. Also, the dinner kit for 4 comes with 5 macarons. Aw, you shouldn't have. No, really, you shouldn't have. You should have put more in the box. I mean, come on, so each person gets one tiny cookie that basically has the consistency of chewy air and then has to, what, duke it out over the 5th? Aside from the laughably small dessert portion, I actually think that the price is pretty decent considering it serves 4 and includes shipping, although it also kind of seems like it should come with pasta or something, am I wrong? What is chicken scallopini anyway? Who asked for it? It kind of just looks like a weird meal that some kind of keto account would come up with and call it a pizza. But it's certainly a great idea for vegans who want a taste of one of the best vegan restaurants in the country, I've been told. And it's also a great gift idea. So let me know, would you try it? Next up, not really sure who this is news to, but meat eaters are envious and angry at vegans according to new study. Or, in other words, they hate us because they ain't us. Meat eaters think plant-based eaters are moral, health-conscious, and environmentally friendly, but they also view them with fear and contempt and may even treat them with aggression, according to a new study. What is this, Jekyll and Hyde the musical? I admire them. I hate them. I want to be like them. I want to hurt them. Get your tickets now. Researchers from the University of Vasa in Finland recruited 3,600 participants from 4 European countries. The participants evaluated fictitious consumers based on 3 shopping lists containing varying combinations of meat products and plant-based alternatives. The researchers compared the participants' stereotypical beliefs, emotional responses, and behavioral treatment tendencies of shoppers based on their purchases. The meat shoppers were seen as less moral, health-conscious, and environmental than plant-based shoppers and provoked less envy and admiration. But participants felt more fear, anger, and contempt towards plant-based shoppers and were more inclined to think about actively harming them, such as by insulting or bullying them. So wait, you're telling me that they had these reactions to not even real vegans, but fictional ones? We're in more trouble than I thought. The researchers analyzed the participants' need for status and group affiliation to explain their reactions. They found that the greater need for status caused stronger feelings of envy and anger towards plant-based shoppers. The researchers suggest that people who covet status are highly sensitive to societal norms, i.e. meat eating, and as a result see plant-based diets as symbolically threatening. I'm waiting for my subscriber Meatflake to chime in because they have the most appropriate username I can think of within the context of this news. They may also be painfully aware that lowering meat consumption is an ideal solution to environmental crises. This realization could then explain their envious response toward plant-based eaters, whose behaviors cannot be copied without some degree of self-sacrifice, the researchers suggest. Well, to a certain extent, tell us something we don't know. You know? But it is interesting to see the behaviors and attitudes all of us are far too familiar with actually studied and quantified. And let's face it, disdain toward vegans is practically one of the stepping stones on the vegan journey. I certainly experienced it. Did you? Maybe you're experiencing it right now. Let's move on. This just in, groundbreaking new ingredient promises stretchy vegan pizza cheese. Continuing the trend of every good vegan news video featuring a story about a groundbreaking new ingredient promising the most realistic, stretchiest vegan cheese ever, the stories keep coming, so I keep reporting them. A Danish cooperative has added a new ingredient to its range of potato-based modified starches that gives plant-based cheeses the melt and stretch people want on their pizzas. KMC, which is owned by Danish potato growers, makes potato-based ingredients for the food industry. The range of modified starches, called Cheesemaker, offers food manufacturers a way to achieve several different textures for plant-based cheeses. Among the cheese alternatives that Cheesemaker can be used for are cheese blocks, cheese slices, and cream cheese. The newest addition to the range, Cheesemaker CF66, will give plant-based cheese the kind of stretchy texture that mozzarella does when melted. The product will give pizza cheese a long, thick stretch and a firm bite, retaining its properties across a wide temperature range. Like with other of these new, innovative vegan cheeses I've reported, who knows when, or how, or if I'll ever get to try them. And like with some of the previous stories, the photo they picked for the article isn't exactly selling me on it, I gotta say, but it's nice to know it exists. Next up, King Charles gives up red meat following cancer diagnosis. King Charles has reportedly stopped eating red meat as he continues to undergo treatment for prostate cancer, which he was diagnosed with in January. Queen Camilla's son, Tom Parker Bowles, told the Mirror that his stepfather has given up red meat and added avocados to his diet for his health, which Piers Morgan is never going to shut up about.
Do you eat avocados?
I eat a plant-based diet, which
Do you eat avocados?
Oh, no. I added that part in. I couldn't help myself. Media reports have described the diet change as a big sacrifice. But former BBC royal correspondent Jenny Bond has said it will actually not be much of a sacrifice for Charles to cut out red meat. According to Bond, he has always been health conscious and has previously limited animal products by avoiding meat and fish for 2 days a week. The king also limits his dairy intake for environmental reasons, according to Bond. King Charles owns a number of animal farms, including beef and dairy farms. Plant-based for health and environment, carnist for wallet. Responding the news, I believe that's a typo, of King Charles giving up red meat for his health, green energy entrepreneur Dale Vince said the same advice should be given to everyone. Our government need to step up, Vince wrote on LinkedIn. The king gets the best medical advice money can buy, and that advice is to give up red meat to reduce his risk of cancer. That advice should be given to everyone in our country now. Cancer does not discriminate between kings and peasants. This is so true. Also, I can't really imagine a more British phrase being uttered. The reality is, this is just one dude in England cutting back on his meat intake. But this story is being widely reported in mainstream news outlets. And if seeing these stories helps anyone make a connection between the way they eat and their health, well then that, I think, would be good vegan news. Lastly, and maybe we can blame or thank King Charles for this one, London's Smithfield Meat Market to close after 850 years as demand for meat falls. With demand for meat dropping by more than 15% between 2008 and 2019 and hitting its lowest level since records began in 1974, London's historic Smithfield Meat Market is set to close permanently after more than 8 centuries of operation. Rising construction costs, inflation, and a significant decline in the consumption of meat and fish were cited as the primary reasons for abandoning plans for a $1 billion relocation to the markets of Dagenham. Recent data from the Department for Food, Environment, and Rural Affairs paints a stark picture of the industry's challenges: a 3.7% decline in meat production in 2023, with the pig sector seeing an 11% drop in production and a 10% reduction in the number of pigs. Government figures published in 2023 also revealed a 14% decrease in average meat consumption compared to a decade earlier, with red meat in particular falling out of favor. The closure signals a profound cultural shift, reflecting growing societal interest in plant-based diets and the ethical concerns surrounding meat consumption. Over the years, Smithfield has been a frequent target of animal rights activism, underscoring the evolving attitudes toward food production and sustainability. The Smithfield site will be transformed into a mixed-use cultural space, becoming the new home for the Museum of London, while the Billingsgate location is set to be repurposed for housing development. Despite the staggering amount of animal suffering and death caused as a result of this institution, it is a beautiful structure, and it's nice to think it will be given a new life. And it's a beautiful reminder that, even though it may take 850 years, change is indeed possible. I wonder what the individual choices don't matter crowd are thinking now. And that's all of our stories for today. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to let us know what you thought of today's news. We here at Forkable Network look forward to bringing you lots more good vegan news in the new year, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of it. For more from me, check out my Patreon, where any tier gets you Discord access, and Dinner Fork and Up tiers get you exclusive video and podcast content, any of which you can also purchase for a one-time fee. Thank you so much to my fancy forks, Claudia and Dindin Masker. Again, I'm Marielle for Forkable News. Thanks for joining us, happy holidays, and we'll see you again soon.